Hello, attorneys. Welcome to the virtual law firm. My name is Sid Peddinti. I'm a business and technology lawyer. And today I want to walk you through a unique system that we have put together, that we've discovered, and we want to share with other attorneys on how you can get over $100,000 a year in free grants to advertise your legal knowledge and expertise to more people. So let's dive right into it. This presentation will cover three things: how to outspend your competitors, how to out-teach your competitors, and how to out-tech your competitors. It is a concept that I discovered a couple of years ago by creating a legal education center, which is what this entire presentation will talk to you about and inform you and educate you about the power of going about setting up your own legal education center and how that works. As you know, the digital era is here today. The concept of the virtual law firm is a reality. This is no longer a future concept. This is something that you have to incorporate today to stay relevant. I've been operating a virtual law firm for the better half of 12 years in the legal industry in Canada as well as in the US. And the reason I discovered how to do this, or the importance of this, is number one, I discovered that there were $200 billion in grants that were set aside and given out to educational organizations. So I wanted to find a way to tap into that. Number two, the stats were alarming. Over $350 million a day is spent on online education today, right now. And that number is just growing and growing because people are at home, they're going online, they're trying to educate themselves, learn new skills, and further their life. So as a law firm owner, I wanted to find a way that I could tap into this market, tap into the grants, tap into the e-learning market, and I created the legal education way of doing things so that I can hit all those different buckets. Number one, the reason for this is people are not just going online and looking up what is the best law firm in my area. Yes, 5, 8, 10 years ago that was a thing, but people are now educating themselves. Before any transaction happens, there's an educational component. People are consuming information. Think about your own behavior. Think about your prospective client's behavior. People are going on Google or on YouTube and typing up how to file my own LLC. How does a trademark work? What is the difference between, for example, a will or a trust? So they're trying to educate themselves even before they reach out to a lawyer, and not just in the legal industry. This is across the board in all industries. This is how the market today works. People are absorbing knowledge before a transaction happens. So if you're thinking about, hey, why is it important to create my own legal information or educational courses and programs, that is exactly why. Because you can solve more problems, you can help more people, you can gain more trustworthiness in the marketplace, you can become top of mind, build a much bigger customer database, you become the authority in your space by educating customers, and you're sharing your legal expertise by doing that. And not just that, in today's world, you can become one of the early adopters, and you have that advantage that comes with becoming an early adopter, taking your practice online and virtual by utilizing the system. And so this is a way to also stay current and stay relevant in today's digital era. So what constitutes legal education? I mean, it could be courses, programs, newsletters, blogs, masterminds, memberships, services, products, coaching, workshops, events, training. All of these at a very broad level are educational content. Does this work in your specific legal niche? Absolutely. We've tested this across many different industries, and whether you're in business, employment, bankruptcy, personal injury, estate law, immigration, criminal, DUI, surrogacy, tax, IP law, or something else, it's the same system. People are going online to absorb knowledge first, educate themselves, and then reaching out to a professional who can help them. So how do we go about this entire process, and how did I end up in this formula? Is because, 5 to 8 years ago, I was spending a lot of money to keep my law firm active. I was spending upwards of $25,000 to $45,000 month to month, somewhere between that range, to just keep my law firm alive. Because as a lawyer, you probably already know this, you cannot solicit business from a non-lawyer or from ex-clients. So how do you generate more clients? How do you reach the true potential of your law firm or you as an attorney? Do you outspend competitors? Do you out-teach competitors? Or do you out-tech them? Use more automation and technology? Well, for me, I wanted to do all three. I wanted to have more firepower so I can spend more and get more customers who are ready to pull the trigger, who are looking for solutions like what I offered. I wanted to out-teach them with my educational content, which you probably already have on your law firm, whether it's a blog, whether it's a newsletter. These are all very educational, right? And then I wanted to use more technology. And over the years, being a tech attorney, being somebody who's obsessed with technology, I was always looking for new technologies out there that could help me do this. Finally, obviously in the virtual law firm, we built an entire technology to fill all the gaps that we encountered in our own law firm, from the time somebody clicks an ad to the calendars to the revenue in the pipeline to a pipeline of the customers to different stages to assigning tasks internally to managing cases to not missing deadlines to consuming information and hosting it online to creating websites to funnels to understanding what my Google ads or Facebook ads were doing. So we solved all that with the technology piece of it. But I wanted to do all three of these in my law firm. I wanted to outspend them, out-teach them, and out-tech them. Why is this important? Because in the words of Peter Drucker, marketing and innovation are the ways for a business to stay current and thrive. You have to keep innovating to stay current. And if you don't market, obviously, if nobody knows about you, you're not going to get any customers. So how does this program work that we created? Number one, we focus on extracting and digitizing your legal expertise in all those different ways of educating people that I just showed you earlier: courses, programs, membership, workshops, etc. Number two, we create a legal education center. Okay. Number three, we structure your legal education center in a way that gets approved for funding, for grants. So we're talking about a nonprofit legal education center because most of the grants out there are for nonprofits. And then we approach companies, Fortune 500 companies, and use technologies like Google and Facebook to harness the power of technology so that we can reach and teach more people. If you go on Google and you type up something in the search bar, you already know that Google's automated AI system is going to spit out some data at you, some suggestions. So here's an example. I went and typed in, how do you file a trademark, which your potential client might be looking for. It gives you, how do you register a trademark? How does a trademark work? What is the trademark application process? So this is information Google's automatically doing the thinking for you. And then when you leverage the tools that they offer for businesses like Google AdWords and the tools that are contained in it, you're harnessing billion-dollar technologies on a day-to-day basis to make meaningful decisions to get in front of your ideal customers. So we're talking about Google advertising. So in the form of grants, imagine you can get free grants to advertise on Google and understanding what your customers are looking for. So here are some real searches that people have done. How to start a nonprofit, living will versus trust, business ideas, will versus trust, irrevocable trust, disaster loans, EID, different topics. Here are some ads that we've tested with this model in different legal niches, from immigration to family law to bankruptcy to intellectual property, estate law, and no matter what field you're in, this works across the board. You can get free ads on Google just like this, where somebody types up, so in terms of the workflow, people go on, they type it up, your ad just like this pops up, they click on it, they arrive at your legal education center to view your course or program. So this is an example of what I have in the market. How do you start a nonprofit, right? And here's a video, educational video. Here are the advantages. Here are the, briefly what they offer. And then I offer a free consultation, a quick 10, 15-minute consultation if somebody wants further help. So can you replicate this process? Absolutely. Do you already have a lot of this in your law firm? Chances are you do. How to file your trademark. You have a video. You have a brief snapshot of the different pros and cons of whatever you offer. And then a little calendar if you do calls, if you conduct calls over calendar. So in terms of the workflow, a person search something on Google, they arrive at your legal educational content, consume your knowledge, and if they need help, they're going to reach out to you. Here's some examples of our clients we've done this for across the board, from Eric, who's done this in the immigration space, Carlando's, insurrogacy, John Kasarvi, immigration, Matt Tram, estate law, Sabrina, immigration and trademark. Okay, I don't want to get too deep into testimonials in this video or case studies, but this is a system to get you more visibility, gain more authority, and a system for you to help more people. And in terms of, does this require additional work? Absolutely not. Maybe a little bit of initial setting up, but that's about it. You're repurposing your educational content that you already have, your intellectual property, into a different way to market. So there's no extra work needed, no extra time needed. You repurpose what you already have and what you're selling through into a different angle. So you build more goodwill by becoming the educator, you build more authority, and this increases the value of your content. And you get free grants to advertise and showcase your expertise to more people. And having a legal education center in your niche helps you grow faster because people support businesses that give back to the economy, that give back to society. And so you have a nonprofit that focuses on education. You may even incorporate a charitable or philanthropic component to it, where you're just repurposing X amount of dollars into a philanthropic venture. You gain more goodwill. And as you know, goodwill is everything in business. You gain more trustworthiness. You become the educator, the problem solver, the resource center for all things in your niche. You stand out from competitors. I guarantee you less than 5% of your competitors are using this specific strategy. If not, that number is probably much lower. And you're using the same content to penetrate the market in a completely different angle. And that also opens up through your nonprofit different funding, sponsorship, partnership, and JV opportunities. And it's a risk-free model. You get grants to carry out the educational objectives that you already have and to grow your business. And as a nonprofit, I don't know if you know this, but nonprofits, if you set it up the right way, exist in perpetuity, which means there's an infinite ROI potential from your nonprofit wing when you set this up. So how does this work? From your nonprofit, you educate people, boost goodwill and trustworthiness, and then if somebody needs help, you point them in the right direction. So from your for-profit, you solve the real problems or you help more people. And so this way, you're monetizing your intellectual property. You're monetizing your legal expertise. You're digitizing it, you're automating it, and you're monetizing it. Like I said earlier, over $200 billion a year in grants are given out for educational organizations every single year in the US. Who gives out these grants? Well, Fortune 500 companies like Google, Amazon, LinkedIn, Apple, Toyota, Dell, Oracle, Facebook, Zoom. And then you have discounts from radio, television, and newspaper stations. And then you also have grants from other nonprofits or state or federal departments that are set aside for education. And your nonprofit, your legal education nonprofit, is tax exempt. There's no federal tax, there's no state tax. And if you're thinking about, hey, is there a limit on activities? Absolutely not. As long as you can further your educational cause, you can do whatever you want. And there's no limit on the grant applications. You can apply to multiple grants every single day for the rest of the year and for the rest of your life, as long as your nonprofit's in existence. And there's no limit on revenue. If you're thinking, do I have to give all this away for free? I can't charge something? Absolutely not. Okay? Think about law schools. Think about nonprofit bar associations. These exist in perpetuity. Harvard, for example, has been operating for 400 plus years, and they charge, obviously, an arm and a leg for joining their programs. So think about law schools and bar associations. You have membership fees, paid courses, events, newsletters, programs, groups, because staff has to be paid. The people involved in these nonprofits, your professors in law school, do you think they volunteer the time? Absolutely not. It's a profession, right? So there's entire models and entire industries built. So at the end of the day, nonprofits are a business. They're in corporations. They have to be run like a business. Here's an example from Harvard, which is a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, which is exactly how we set it up. And here are some examples. I mean, Harvard pulled in roughly $4 billion worth of revenue. I think this was 2017 or 2018 tax year. 4 billion a year. That's larger in revenue than most or many Fortune 500 companies. In terms of what their activities are, salaries, expenses, you can see that here. Okay, $2 billion in expenses and salaries. And in terms of assets, take a look at this. They have $71 billion worth of assets. Isn't that crazy? I bet you didn't expect that, but these are nonprofits. And so diving back into this model, we're going to get you funding so you can advertise on Google. Here's an example from my legal education center. Over the last year and a half, I've spent roughly $152,000 for free. I haven't paid a cent of that back. Almost 760,000 impressions. My ideal clients were searching on something on Google, out of which we have had 1,300 conversions over the last year and a half, and 36,000 additional laser targeted clicks, because I know what people are looking for, and I've re-engineered the system backwards. So you get more visitors, more awareness, more prospects, and more clients at the end of the day. So does this allow you to outspend your competitors? Possibly. Out-teach them? Possibly. Out-tech them? Absolutely. What does this lead? It's a massive unfair advantage for you in your marketplace. You can harness the power of Google. So here are some examples. We're getting $33 average pay per click. Would I spend this from my pocket? Yes, sometimes. I did in the past, but if I can get somebody else to pay for it, why wouldn't I? And you can harness the power of Google and other platforms to see what exactly your customers are typing up. So you're re-engineering your entire system backwards, if that makes sense. You're looking up, living trust versus will, for example, and then re-engineering your ad to show your legal course or education, living trust versus will, how to avoid the probate process. And that's how it works. And I showed you earlier my landing pages. Once they click this, they go to the landing page. They view the information that you have, they book an appointment, and if you can help them, you point them in the right direction. So ever since I've incorporated this model, I was spending 40 grand a month to keep my law firm alive. Now my cost of acquisition for a new client is zero because I don't spend anything. I have free grants to promote what I'm doing. And I'm happy to create more and more educational content, which means that I have more publicity, I have more authority, I have more goodwill. I built an entire legal education center, different niches, so I become the go-to person in that market with my own, quote-unquote Udemy or whatever, online platforms, just similar to that. So it's an infinite ROI potential possibly from this model. And you have grants from a nonprofit that could potentially fund you for the rest of your life. And in this program, we're going to walk you through a system and get you approved for roughly 10 grand a month in free advertising so you can promote your legal education center, which are housed inside the nonprofit. So that's about 120 grand a year in free ads. No expiry on the grant, and you can apply to grants from all these Fortune 500s that are out there. And with the technology we've built, Virtual Law Firm, you have an entire system with complete automation from the time a person clicks an ad to absorbing the content, booking a calendar, delivery of your services, getting reviews from them, and getting referrals and management and everything internal and external, all within one platform. All the different technologies that I was using in my law firm are now inside of this platform, virtuallawfirm.io, that we built for you. I've identified the gaps. I've done the hard work already. I've been operating in this model for 12 years. So as you can focus on education and empowering, so educating and empowering people, you get your calendar booked. I don't know if you can see this clearly, but we have over 100 calls to 150 calls booked solid in our calendar every single month, month after month, for free. I don't even spend a dime on ads now. So you have free ads, free exposure, free customers, awareness, traffic, leads, and maximize profits with minimum risks involved. Okay, so that's the system of grants for lawyers. What I believe is a new way to grow and thrive in today's digital era as a law firm owner. I invite you to book a call. I'd be happy to walk you through this process in more detail and how it applies to your law firm. And let's see if this model works for you. I hope to talk to you soon. Once again, thanks for watching. Sid Peddinti here, founder of the Virtual Law Firm.